CKJ Crypto News, Ripple Pioneers, Crypto Pioneers. I'd like to welcome everybody to the show today. I got huge news. I apologize for not making videos the last few days. I've actually been deep down the financial side of the markets. Basically, I come to realize that the financial markets and the crypto markets are actually running parallel. No, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do believe all the research I have done the last few days has led me to believe that we are in for a hell of a ride far as being pioneers in Ripple, pioneers in crypto. The crypto market, I believe, is soon to explode. I believe that the legal foundation is being worked on as we speak. I ran across some articles where the IMF is bullish on crypto, bullish on Ripple. I've tied the IMF to Chris Larsen, to Ryan Zagone, our Ripple regulator. Also, I got some more Federal Reserve tie-ins. I believe that the world, Ripple has partnered with the world. They're working on regulation as we speak. Now, basically, what the problem is, I believe, is not is Ripple a security or not a security. I believe that they're setting up for this technology to be used for securities before commodities. I believe that they're going to lay the legal framework for this technology to handle securities and commodities, derivatives. Let's get this show started. Don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter at CKJ at CKJ Crypto News. And this is actually the first clip that actually brought me to this article. The International Monetary Fund has engaged Ripple in discussion by including them as a member of their high-level advisory group. The group will provide advice to help IMF, if you're not familiar with the IMF, I've been only doing a little bit of research on them the last 2 or 3 days, so I could leave a lot of stuff out. I will have more information soon. But the IMF is the International Monetary Fund. And what I have seen from them is, for example, when we had the 2008 financial crisis where financial institutions were getting bailouts from the government, this institution bails out countries. It bails out countries. So this is huge. This is a huge organization. I'm starting to tie in Ripple, like I said, to Federal Reserve, now to the IMF. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some World Bank tie-ins. This technology is unprecedented. And what I say is unprecedented is a word I learned at the law office when I used to work at the law office. Unprecedented is the first time something happens. If it's the first time something happens, then it makes case law. Case law is a huge accomplishment in the legal world. Now, you can actually use that term unprecedented for this financial world too, because this blockchain technology is amazing. So the IMF deepens its understanding of fintech issues. So that actually, this right here is what actually started me digging into the IMF a little bit. And I also got this, which I believe that Chris Larsen and Brad Garlinghouse have dropped some amazing crumbs. I mean, if we just, here on CKJ Crypto News, my favorite thing is showing the foundation that Ripple has built. The foundation that Ripple is building is so strong, so sturdy. The reason the price hasn't blown through the roof yet is because this technology is new. They are currently working on laws that govern this technology so it can be used for securities, for commodities, for derivatives. You know, the sale of wheat and gold and cattle is huge. It's what the economy is built off of, and this whole institution will be powered by Ripple. Here's IMF right here. This is the president of IMF. IMF brings key stakeholders together to foster collaboration on fintech. Now, I did tweet all these articles, but if you scroll down right here, you can see who's on this established in 2017, is now expanding with 6 new members. The advisory group provides guidance to the IMF staff on fintech work and research. Here's a full list of the members. Here's Jeremy Adler, chief executive of Circle. That's pretty interesting. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Circle also has their bit license. But then if you scroll down here a little bit farther, who do we got? Our main man, Chris Larsen, executive chairman at Ripple. Now we know Ripple also has their bit license, and I don't believe there's too many more fintech companies on this one, except for banking institutions. But if you go to this article right here, I just found IMF bullish on Ripple XRP, and I do believe that cryptocurrencies, financial intermediation, and AI is slowly working its way into our everyday lives. Some more, some than others. Some more, some than others. So I do believe that that's really huge. But if you scroll down here, citizens may one day prefer virtual currency since they're potentially offer the same cost and convenience. There could be no cash, no settlement risk, no clearing delays. Now remember I said that, no clearing delays, because I've actually tweeted some videos on clearing houses, and this is actually huge too. The clearing delays, no central registration, no intermediary and to check accounts and identities. Lagarde then goes up to say that a privately issued currencies continue to be risky and unstable. The public might call on central banks to provide digital forms of legal tender. So pretty much they're trying to establish who's going to be the one, but the IMF is bullish on Ripple and XRP. This is done, and this is basically because I showed you right here how the IMF is starting to tie in articles with Chris Larsen. But if you go to this right here, IMF just finished its first high-level meeting on blockchain. And actually, if you look at this picture, who do you see right here in the back of this picture? There's Ryan Zagone, our Ripple regulator. Now, this is huge. I mean, come on, crypto pioneers. Let's start putting the pieces together here. We got Ryan Zagone, who's working with the IMF now. We got Ryan Zagone that's on the Faster Payments Task Force. We got Ryan Zagone that's on the steering committee. We got Ryan Zagone that's on BAF, Bankers of Futures. We got Ryan Zagone working with the UN. We got Ryan Zagone working with Bill Gates. I mean, come on. We got Ripple all over the place. These pictures actually remind me of some of the YouTube pictures that go around where they say they caught the picture of the time traveler in the background. I mean, come on. This Ryan Zagone and Chris Larsen is showing up with every large financial institution in the world. I mean, it's not hard to actually put two and two together and see what's going on. There's basically what it says right here. Unlike Brentwood agreements that peg the price of global currencies to gold, Tapscott noted today's meeting wasn't held exclusively in smoky wood panel chambers between global elites. There's a convincing power that the IMF has, and I think there should bring together central banks and governors, but also process should be transparent and it should be inclusive, and the people from the outside and the central banking should be able to provide their input on what needs to be done. So this is huge. This is huge. Basically, I'm just going to run through this just to put two and two together for you guys. Here's the IMF blog. And this is actually, the title of it covers the whole article. Global economy gaining momentum. And that's the thing. And that's why I believe there's a saying that's going to be started soon, or it has been started. It has gained momentum. It's powered by Ripple. I do believe that this technology will lay within the stack, and this will power innovation of the technologies that we have. Like Chris Larsen said, it plugs into the existing technology. There's not much to change to utilize this technology. Now, this brings us into the Federal Reserve part. This is right here is from David Mills. He works at the Federal Reserve, and they're starting to take a serious look at distributed ledger technology and payments and clearing and settlements. Now, actually, this Federal Reserve meeting right here in D.C. is actually held right next to the IMF building, which is in D.C. If you guys do a little bit of research on IMF, I mean, talk about rabbit hole. But this right here, and this is from the Federal Reserve, and which I said previously, out of all of the proposals that are on the table for Faster Payments Task Force, I once said, if you guys recall, that I wonder if there was any other blockchain proposals on the table versus the 19 proposals that are left. Well, Ripple is the only distributed ledger technology DLT company on the U.S. Federal Reserve Faster Payments Task Force. And this here says it right there, black and white. Ripple is the only distributed ledger technology DLT company on the U.S. Federal Reserve Faster Payments Task Force Steering Committee. Of course, DLT may not be the only solution, like I said, for the people that says it hasn't been chosen yet, and being on the steering committee does not itself guarantee adoption. Of course it doesn't. The Federal Reserve has been very clear that their goal is to let the market naturally decide what solution deserves market share. Well, I can tell you one thing. Ripple has been all over the place. Other members of this task force that are not on the steering committee include representatives of Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Citi, Bank of New York Mellon, Morgan Stanley, Visa, MasterCard, Verizon, NASA, BAF. There's bankers of Ryan Zagone is the leader of that. The IRS, FDIC. I mean, come on. Ripple's working with them all. So let's move forward. And no, this is right here. This is the proof of concept, and this is from the Federal Reserve also. Now, this sounds very familiar to me. They're talking about pilot and program, and I believe this is another reason we're seeing slow movement of it. POC is proof of concept that show potential may move into the pilot phase in which technology could be used for real transactions. Pilots have a limited duration, defined objectives and milestones, and typically also limit the number of participants in order to determine how the technology works in production. Technologies that are successful in the pilot phase, which is Ripple, may then move toward the production stage, which was Ripple. Technologies at this stage have the full set of features necessary to facilitate storage and record keeping and transfer of asset being considered. The final stage of development process is broad adoption, mass adoption 2020, and I do believe this is where stage we're at with Ripple. Broad adoption of the technology by participants in payments, clearing, remember the word clearing, payments, clearing, and settlement systems. At the time of the Federal Reserve research team's interviews, most of the DLT, distributed ledger technology experimentation, was at the proof of concept stage. Now we know for a fact we're farther than this along the stages because this article right here is from 2016. Now we know that we've met all these requirements that they're talking of right here. Let's move on. As of 2016, the Federal Reserve singled out ILP, summarizing that an open interoperable standard like the Interledger Protocol could spur further innovation and adoption of DLT-based systems for cross-border payments. The Global Payments Steering Group is comprised of the following institutions: Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Santander, Union Credit, Westpac Banking, Royal Bank of Canada. And check out this last line. This is why I believe that Ripple is already being put into play. The group will oversee the creation and maintenance of Ripple payment transaction rules. There it is, so plain, black and white, right there for you. Like I said, now you guys, I actually shared a video earlier. Like I said, I've been really studying the financial side of the markets because they do run extremely parallel to crypto. Now what I understand and what's going on is there's clearinghouses. The clearinghouses settle payments between buyers and sellers. They're like a third-party entities, and what I've studied so far is because both entities don't trust each other, so they have to have a clearinghouse that sometimes settles in 3 days, 2 days, 1 day. But what Ripple is saying, with real-time payments and real-time settlements, they could revolutionize this market. This is a must-see video. One of the reasons Ripple Xrp will shake up the financial world, real-time payments, also DLT. Buckle up, it's going to be one hell of a ride. Right here, clearinghouse. A clearinghouse is a financial institution that provides clearing and settlement services for financial and commodities, derivatives, and security transactions. Now, from what I read on the Federal Reserve, their biggest concern is not if Ripple is security or not a security. Their biggest concern is, can we legally use this technology for securities? Can we technically use this technology for commodities, stocks, bonds, dividends? This technology will power the world. It's going to revolutionize the world. Now, this is almost to the end now. Of the world's 294 trillion in financial assets, the global stock market capitalization has grown to a $69 trillion from $34 trillion in 2008. We're talking some serious money moving. That's for sure. And now we can settle these transactions instantly. Come on now. Of course this technology is revolutionary. Of course this technology is unprecedented. And basically this is from the Federal Reserve again. The path to adoption of any new technologies, include DLT, typically follows several stages of deployment, beginning with proof of concept. So basically that's the same one we just shared actually earlier, but you get the point. Now I also got this from Ripple Insights. Here's XRP, 4 seconds. Ethereum, 2 minutes. BTC, 1 hour plus. Traditional systems like clearinghouses, the securities markets, any settlements, clearings, we got to think much bigger. Much bigger. This technology is going to be used to handle all these traditional ways of banking, traditional securities, point A to point B. 3 to 5 days right there. And that brings us back to the International Monetary Fund, Imf Bullish on Ripple. I did tweet that article. You guys can check it out for yourself. Like I said, I will be live streaming tonight at 9 o'clock. I look forward to seeing everybody there. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please smash that CKJ coin. That'll be your subscribe button. And I'd like to thank everybody for taking time out. And let me know what city, country, or state you're in. I'll respond to all comments. If you hit that subscribe, please let me know. Thank you so much, Ripple Pioneers. Have a wonderful day.